From ESPN, our man Adam Schefter. Shefty, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew and John. What's going on today?
We are 8 days away from the NFL draft.
8 sleeps.
So I'm sure your phone has probably been buzzing. So I will ask you, at what point does Adam Schefter get the feel of the direction of the NFL draft? And I'm not even saying first overall pick. Like, certain positions will go early. Other positions will go later. Certain players you think will go in the first round will not be drafted on day one. When do you start getting your feel pre-draft?
I think it's always a constantly evolving process. Like I never feel entirely comfortable, and things change. And I just saw Louis Riddick on TV this morning. He was talking about when he worked in the Washington front office. I think it was the 2004 draft, and they had Kellen Winslow Jr. as the top-rated player on their board for the entire process. And then the night before the draft, they met at their facility late into the night. And when they reported to work in the morning, the new name atop the draft board on the morning of the draft was Sean Taylor.
Wow.
Now, but it's a great story, and it typifies exactly what we're going through. Like, at one point I thought the Cleveland Browns would be doing quarterback, and I think they were going to do quarterback, but then it became apparent that Cam Ward is settling into the number one spot. And then I thought, well, they're spending a lot of time with Abdul Carter. The owners met with him in Cleveland. They went to their pro day. And there were people in the organization talking about matching Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett. And I thought, well, this seems like it's trending that way, and it was. And then you see him at Travis Hunter's pro day, and the way they're acting on it, and you're like, it feels like Travis Hunter's the pick. And then I spoke to somebody yesterday, like, I'm telling you, Cleveland's not doing Travis Hunt. I'm like, really? Now, I don't know what's right and what's not. But my point is that it changes all the time. It's fluid for the teams themselves. So I'm certainly not going to get to a point 8 days out, 8 hours out, where I just say, well, I got it all figured out. Let's see how it goes right now.
I know this, Adam, as we look at what the Eagles have done the last 4 years, and they have arguably been the best drafting team in the NFL, especially if you talk about just the first 3 rounds. Howie and his staff have killed it. One thing I've seen is that Howie says he doesn't draft for need, but I could look at almost every single one of those picks, and those years, they were a need position. So how do you think people balance out the need, best player available stuff?
Well, I do think you balance it out. That's the whole thing. Like, I don't mean to make this more complex than it needs to be, John. Like, you're looking for the best player, but you're looking for somebody that's going to help you. Like, if the best receiver at the Eagles' turn was, I'm making this up, Emeka Egbuka, it'd be hard to go wide receiver. Yeah, I think it'd be hard to go.
Yeah, I don't think they would. I think they would just say, we're going to go. Or does that mean, is that when Howie trades out?
Well, I think if you look at Howie, he's prioritized the lines and cornerback. That's what it feels like to me over time. Of course, there are exceptions, but that's what I'm talking about. You blend it together, and it's a combination of the best player on your board and a player that fits your needs. Like, Jalen Carter, you could have made the argument there that they didn't need to bolster their defensive line at that time, correct? I mean, it certainly never hurts to have people there.
Well, I think they knew that Fletcher Cox was on his last year. It was heading out,
Yeah, again, you'd like to address it, but I think you could have made the argument that year that they had greater needs.
Right.
So look, it's their job to study these guys all year long and come out with a feel on certain guys. And, like, you get out of that process and you feel like, this guy I like. Now, I may be too deep there, whereas I may be really thin at another position. But sometimes a player's so good in your own mind and in the eyes of your organization, you have to go make it work. It may not be ideal. It may not fill the biggest need, but you do what you have to, and you figure it out, and in my mind, you make that work.
Adam Schefter joining us here on Kincade Salciunas. You're listening to 97.5, The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group Station. Broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And today's key word for your next chance to win $1,000 is purse. P-U-R-S-E. That's purse. Schefty, obviously draft day comes with looking at what the Eagles will do with their draft picks, but it's also a day where Howie Roseman makes moves, either trying to acquire players or maybe more so this year, move on from some players. Dallas Goedert and Bryce Huff. Likelihood of either of those players being moved on any of the days of the draft?
I think that they're absolutely open to it, and you got to find somebody that would be willing to trade for them, and they've been open to dealing them all along, and nothing's materialized. So, I guess somebody may come up a tight end short in the draft. Somebody may be looking for a pass rusher at some point during the draft. I don't know how much you're going to get back, on Bryce Huff. I don't know that. And Dallas Goedert, I don't think they're going to waver on. Like, they're going to be pretty firm in what they want back. So, look, eventually when there's enough smoke, usually you get something. Next week is the week you get something. So it's in play, but it's just not simple to get done.
When you look at the landscape in the division, the Giants, they go and get Russell Wilson and everything, and they'll probably address quarterback at some point, maybe. But it's the idea is, are the other teams in the division ready to make a move? Washington, we already know, made big strides last year. What's Washington thinking? And are the Giants and the Cowboys could they even get in striking distance?
The Giants have an unsettled quarterback position. And I do think, look, just follow the signs. They're doing all these private workouts with all these quarterbacks leading into they're going to draft a quarterback in their first couple of picks. I mean, it would take a lot for them not to do that in my mind. So the question is, are they going quarterback at 3 or are they going quarterback at 35, I think is the pick. And I don't know that they're set as an organization on that just yet, to the Louis Riddick point and story. I think they're still going through it, and these private workouts are going to have something to say about where these guys go in the draft and where the Giants opt for that quarterback. The Cowboys, I think the Cowboys are better than people think. I don't think they're at the Eagles or Commanders level, but I do think they're a good football team. So I think there's a clear pecking order here, and Philadelphia sits in the top spot with Washington closing because of the quarterback. The team itself is not as good, but the quarterback is. And so that is the great equalizer.
Big news yesterday, Jalen Ramsey and the Dolphins agreeing that they will try to find a trade partner. Odds that Jalen Ramsey is in the NFC, and I would imagine to be with one of the contenders. What are you thinking there?
I think we're going to have a hard time trading him. No one's going to want that contract. It's always interesting to me, like, these names come out at this time of the year, and people, they go crazy over it. And it's like, these teams have been talking about these people. I don't think it's any surprise, but I guess it surprises the public. And I think they're going to have a hard time trading him unless they're paying down a healthy portion of that salary, and even then it might be tough. So, to me, it won't be a surprise if they just wind up releasing him at some point. Wow. But when a team says, we're open to trading him and we're parting ways, like, that's an advertisement. Don't trade for him. They're going to release him.
I'm going to ask you a question, and if you can't answer this, I completely understand it, so just tell me. I can't get into that, John. Around league circles, do you believe teams want to stop trading with Howie Roseman, want to stop taking his call? And no? So you think that that's not an option at all?
Definitely not. Like, by the way, let's just say I'm making this up in the last pick of the first round, that there have only been at that point, I'm giving you a hypothetical, 2 quarterbacks picked, Shador and Cam Ward. And the Saints or the Steelers call up. Do you think if and when they want to get to 32 to draft one of these quarterbacks in our hypothetical situation here, they're going to say, "Oh, we're not calling 32. Right. That's how."
Yeah, I guess that is correct. It's just the idea of him. He's gotten that reputation now as that being fleecing people.
So what? Like,
okay.
He's not holding up anybody. Like, this is a mutually agreed upon trade. We are aware of his trading history and his track record. But that is in no way going to stop a team that wants their pick or their player from calling Howie. You know it's probably going to be a tougher negotiation. You know he may extract a little bit extra, but there's no way that you're not going to call and make a deal because they have a good track record in other trades that they've made in recent years. No chance.
Schefter, you're the man. We appreciate the time as always. Can't wait to talk to you next week. It'll be the day before the NFL drafts. Next week I got to find out who's going to be the guy that falls, who's going to be the guy that climbs last second. I need all this information from you next week, Schefter. All right?
I'll give it to you now.
Whoops. What do we got?
I think Matthew Golden goes higher than people think. I think James Pierce goes lower than people think. There's a couple of guys here right there. How about that?
Wow, how about that?
Look
That's
at
good.
that.
By the
Right
way,
off the cuff.
I need you to confirm May 8th. I'm hearing
May 8th?
I'm hearing May 8th for potential schedule release.
Oh, W's and L's Day.
It's one of my no.
No,
This is good.
I got an email about it yesterday. I might have let me see. Oh, here it is. May 13th, 14th, 15th.
Okay, so it'll be in that range, 13, 14, 15.
So
That's
that
awesome.
means May 14th, if it comes out the 13th, you, me, and John will do W's and L's.
No, I'll call in sick if you're going to play that stupid game.
Schefter, we appreciate the time as always, man. We'll talk to you next week.
I'll be in Wisconsin next week. We'll talk to you from Green Bay.
There you
Love
go.
that. There he is, Adam